What causes accidents? Many people take a safe working environment for granted, assured in the knowledge that accidents in the role are incredibly rare. However, becoming complacent while carrying out everyday tasks can mean that even workplaces with less obvious hazards can pose risk to employees, no matter what their roles are. Accidents can take place anywhere, and more serious incidents can have a long-term physical and emotional impact on those affected, while also having significant financial implications for the business itself. With this in mind, in this video, I will be showing the most common types of accidents in the workplace and how to avoid them. 1. An employee slipped as he entered the building and fell headfirst down a flight of stairs, hitting the concrete floor 1.3 meters below. He died as a result of his injuries. 2. An employee slipped in a dark car park outside his workplace and strained his back. 3. Employees had to walk around stuff that had been left blocking a passageway in an industrial facility. One of the employees slipped and strained his knee and hit the back on his head on the floor. 4. Employee tripped over a high door sill and dislocated her shoulder as a result of the fall. 5th. An employee fell and broke his wrist after tripping over cables that had been left on the ground at a construction site. Now, let's run through some ways of avoiding similar accidents. Plan your workspaces and access roads so they can easily be kept neat and tidy. Risk assessments help you to identify dangerous places and implement safety measures. Make sure that indoor and outdoor areas are properly and sufficiently lit. Ensure there is good lighting in stairways, corridors, and entrances in particular. Sturdy handrails, good visibility, and slip-resistant floor surfaces also improve safety on staircases. To carry out regular cleaning and maintenance. Make sure people can work at an appropriate pace. Accidents are more likely when you are in a hurry. Smooth work processes help to keep everything in order. Make sure you have enough time to get from place to place. Wear suitable shoes for the weather and your work. Keep your eyes open and focus one thing at a time. Put things back in their place and don't block floors and access roads. Don't leave traps for your workmates. Always report any dangers. A worker was walking in an open area on a construction site. Suddenly, an object fell down and struck the worker's head. He died as a result. What is the cause of accident? A number of metal falsework components scattered on the window sill of an upper unit. One of them suddenly fell from the window sill and passed through the external scaffold on which no safety net was installed. The component struck the worker's head, and the fatal accident happened as a result. How to prevent this accident? To prevent workers from being struck by falling materials or objects, suitable preventive measures should be taken, including good housekeeping should be implemented on site. Materials should be placed or stacked on window sills, floor edges, and etc. Suitable nets and fans should be installed on the external walls of building to retain and catch falling materials or objects. The area where workers may be struck by falling materials or objects should be properly fenced off. Safety is a shared responsibility. Let's join hands to make the workplace safe. Take adequate safety precautions and work safe. As electricity powers most equipment, it's an invisible hazard in which we find ourselves surrounded. Any disrespect could easily result in shock, fire, severe burns, or even death. Fortunately, with the advent of ground fault circuit interrupts or GFCI, these hazards have been substantially reduced. Frequently called safety switches, these devices rapidly shut off electricity when dangerous electrical conditions have been detected. Nevertheless, before using any electrical equipment, the operator must ensure all leads and plugs are in good conditions and have a current electrical test tag. Electrical equipment must remain clean and dry at all times, be in good condition and maintained by suitably qualified staff. Most importantly, never reset, trip, GFCIs or circuit breakers without first investigating the cause.
Don't let a fire catch you by surprise. Plan ahead. Thoroughly familiarize yourself with your work area, so if you are ever faced with a fire emergency, you know what to do and where to go. 1. Take note of exit locations and know at least 2 ways out. 2. Learn the locations of your fire extinguishers should you decide to fight the fire. 3. Locate fire alarm pull stations. These are critical for alerting the other occupants in the building. And 4. Know your department's plan for where to meet following an evacuation. Do not re-enter the building until authorized to do so by emergency responders. Don't be caught unprepared. Know what to do in the event of a fire. It is important to know how to react. Knowing what to do can mean the difference between life and death. 1. If the fire alarm is activated, evacuate the building immediately. 2. Never assume it's a drill. If you ignore a fire alarm, you could end up trapped inside a burning building. 3. Never use the elevator to get out of a burning building. Always use the stairs. You could become trapped inside an elevator, as many elevators stop working once the fire alarm is activated. 4. Know and follow your department's emergency action plan. Your plan may include assigning certain employees specific responsibilities, such as ensuring that everyone evacuates the building and assisting disabled individuals to areas of refuge. 5. All employees should know their escape routes and where to meet following a fire emergency. 6. And most importantly, stay calm. Here's a hot tip to remind you of what to do in the event of a fire emergency. RACE. RACE stands for Rescue, by assisting individuals with disabilities and others if it is safe to do so. Around you by informing them there is a fire. Activate the nearest fire alarm and call 911 from a safe location. Confine, by closing doors behind you to inhibit the fire from spreading. Evacuate, by leaving the building immediately via the nearest exit when instructed. Do not use elevators. Do not re-enter the building until authorized by emergency responders. If you decide to use a fire extinguisher, remember, pass. Pull the safety pin from the handle. Aim at the base of the fire. Squeeze the trigger handle while holding the extinguisher upright. And sweep the extinguisher from side to side at the base of the fire. It is important to remember that fire extinguishers have a limited range and limited amount of extinguishing agent. They should not be used in any of the following situations. When you have not been properly trained, misuse can be harmful to the situation and yourself. Or when the fire spreads beyond its immediate area, it could block your escape route.
When we talk about violence in the workplace, what most people think of first is physical assault, but workplace violence also includes a number of the other behaviors such as vandalism and theft. Yelling, name-calling, and acts of aggression are also types of violence. Whether or not they are directed at anyone, they make for an unhealthy work environment. All forms of psychological harassment are seen as workplace violence. This includes behavior that intimidates, threatens, humiliates, and spreads rumors. When the behavior is of a sexual nature such as persistent sexual advances, jokes, comments, insults, or the sending of explicit images, it's sexual harassment, and that's workplace violence too. But violence in the workplace doesn't just occur between workers, it can also be initiated by supervisors, contractors, customers, and representatives. All acts of violence can have a lasting effect on both your physical health and your psychological health. In Quebec, on any given day, as many as 6 employees miss work as a result of violence. All workers are entitled to working conditions that are free of violence and harassment. Employers are required to protect employees from all forms of violence, including spousal, family, or sexual violence while the worker is in the workplace. It's a legal obligation. A comprehensive code of conduct or harassment and violence prevention policy outlines the expected behaviors, unacceptable behaviors, and their consequences, the roles and responsibilities of all, and what to do when an incident of violence occurs. This document must be shared with and understood by all employees. Encouraging respect in the workplace, for example, by offering civility and workplace harassment training to your employees, promotes a healthy work environment that can help prevent violence.
Classification of fire. Not every fire is the same. Different types of fire have different hazard and risk. Using the wrong type of fire extinguisher could do more harm than good. There are 5 classifications of fire, and each should be attacked differently to put them out safely. Fires can be devastating, burning, injuring, and even killing people, damaging buildings and equipment, interrupting business activities. Fire can end lives and put you out of business. There are 5 different classes of fire. Class A, solid material such as wood or paper, fabric, and some plastics. Class B, liquid or gas such as alcohol, either gasoline or grease. Class C, electrical failure from appliances, electronic equipment, and wiring. Class D, metallic substance such as sodium, titanium, zirconium, or magnesium. Class K, grease or oil fires, especially from cooking. Class A fires, or ordinary fire. Class A fires are the most common of the 5 different classes of fires. They occur when common combustible material like wood, paper, fabric, trash, and light plastic catch fire. These accidental fires are ubiquitous across a variety of industries, so it's recommended to have adequate protection against ordinary fires in addition to other condition-specific fires. The best types of fire extinguisher of Class A fires are water and foam extinguisher. Water is the most popular type of extinguisher because it can handle most fires involving solids, but it should never be used near electrical equipment. Power and with chemical fire extinguisher also have limited suitability for Class A fires. Class B fires, liquid and gases. Class B fires involve flammable liquids and gases, especially fuels like petroleum or petroleum-based products such as gasoline, paint, and kerosene. Other gases that are highly flammable are propane and butane, which are common causes of Class B fires. The best way to deal with these types of fires is by smothering them or removing oxygen using foam or CO2 fire suspensions equipment. Class C fires, electrical fires. Electrical fires fall under Class C and are common in facilities that make heavy use of electrical equipment, but they can occur in a wide range of industries. For example, data centers might be an obvious risk area for Class C fires. They must have safeguards in place to deal with electrical fires. While extinguishers can be used on Class A gas fires, the only safe method to put out this type of fire is to shut off the gas supply. The best type of extinguisher to put out the fire once the supply of gas is cut off is dry powdered extinguisher. Class D fires, metallic fires. Class D fires are not as common as the other classes, but they do require special attention because they can be easily difficult to extinguish. Metallic fires involve flammable materials like titanium, aluminum, magnesium, and potassium, all commonly occurring in laboratories. To put Class D fire, there are dry powder extinguishers developed to tackle metal fires. The powder inside the extinguisher may vary depending on the type of material used. It is designed for small metal fires can sometimes be smothered with dry earth or sand. Class K fires. Grease fires or cooking fires. Class K fires involve flammable liquids similar to Class B fires, but are specifically related to food service and the restaurant industry. These common fires start from the combustion of liquid cooking materials, including grease, oils, and vegetable and animal fats, because they can spread quickly and be difficult to manage. Class K fire are some of the most dangerous. Water can make the situation worse, but smothering the flames using a wet-agent fire extinguisher is effective. That's all about the classification of fire. Thank you.
Good day everyone. Today we're going to tackle about fire prevention. So here is a topic outline of fire prevention. First is what is fire prevention all about? Second, its objectives. Third, why is fire prevention important? Fourth, elements of fire prevention, the fire prevention triangle, heat, oxygen, and fuel. Fifth, home fire prevention and safety tips. 6. The fire prevention diagram. Fire prevention. So what is fire prevention? Fire prevention relates to the goal of educating members of workplaces and the public taking proactive steps to prevent fire from starting and to reduce the harmful impact of fires. Also, fire prevention is all about being active when it comes to identifying and removing fire hazards. So it means once the causes of fire are understood, it is important to prevent fires by identifying and eliminating fire hazards in the workplace and home. Inspecting electrical wiring, checking smoke detectors, flammable materials, and other potential fire hazards is essential in a fire prevention program. It also helps to take proactive steps such as providing fire extinguishers, installing fire alarms, and keeping the environment free of any clutter or combustible material to minimize the chances of fire starting. Fire prevention also involves educating people on the best ways to put out fire if one should start. It is important for people to know how to properly operate a fire extinguisher and the proper evacuation procedures in the event of a fire. In addition, it is important that people understand the importance of alerting authorities immediately and following emergency protocols. Fire prevention is an important step in protecting lives and property from devastating effects of fire. Fire prevention helps education to educate the children or the people, and the implementation of fire safety measures can help reduce the risk of fire and help to contain and extinguish fires quickly and effectively in the event that one does occur. So we have here the objectives of fire prevention. First is to prevent and suppress unwanted fires by rendering prompt and efficient services so as to keep the loss of fire and property to minimum. Second, to conduct fire safety inspections in hazardous occupancies and to advise management so as to reduce the risk by fire. Next, to impart training in fire prevention, firefighting, and fire protection. Fourth, to implement fire safety regulatory measures under fire service rules for uses of places and trades for purposes inter alia involving risk from fires. Fifth, to provide standby protection at large gatherings and important public and private functions. Sixth, to check the installation of fire protection measures and query of firefighting and responding to non-fire emergency due to natural and man-made disaster. Seventh, to prevent loss of life and property from fire and non-fire emergencies like highway motor accidents, building collapse, landslide, still water rescue, industrial hazard, spillage and toxic release, inter-aisle technological hazard, and render humanitarian services and special services. And lastly, to promote community-based prevention and coping strategies for all kinds of emergencies, including fire, etc. So, in the given objectives above of fire prevention are designed to protect people and property from the ravage of fire. The primary objective focus on providing services to minimize deaths and property damage from fires, conducting fire safety inspection in hazardous occupancies, training in fire prevention, firefighting, and fire protection, implementing fire safety regulations, providing standby protection at large gatherings and important public and private functions, checking the installation of fire protection measures, responding to non-fire emergencies, and promoting community-based preventive and coping strategies for all kinds of emergencies. All of these objectives are designed to protect people and property from potential fires and other emergency situations. Importance of fire prevention. The importance of fire prevention for your family and your staff is more than just preventing property damage. When you create a fire prevention and safety plan, you're potentially saving lives. Create a formal documents for your household or businesses. Also, fire prevention planning should include several focal points ultimately for the safety and well-being of your staff and or family. Remember, fire safety training has as much to do with preventing a fire as it does for the responding to a fire. So, fire prevention is important because it can save lives and property. For safety, prevention and awareness are instrumental in protecting homes, businesses, and communities from the devastations of fire. Fire prevention involves identifying the cause of fires and raising awareness of fire safety in the community. It involves putting in place proper safety procedures such as training local firefighters, installing of smoke detectors, and inspection of building for fire risks. Fire prevention is important to protect people, the environment, the resources. Elements of fire prevention. The fire prevention triangle is composed or combined with heat, oxygen, and fuel. A fire needs three elements, which is heat, oxygen, and fuel, because without heat, oxygen, and fuel, a fire will not start or spread. A key strategy to prevent fire is to remove one or more of heat, oxygen, or fuel. The risk assessment should include data on all three elements to minimize the risk of a fire starting or spreading. So what is heat? Heat is one of the three components of fire prevention triangle. Heat is necessary to start and spread a fire as it raises the temperature of the fuel and oxygen until a combustion reaction can occur which starts a fire. Heat sources can come from many sources such as electricity, an open flame, friction, or even radiation from the sun. Oxygen is the second element of the fire prevention triangle and is necessary for combustion to occur. Oxygen is responsible for helping the fuel reach the heat source which then start the combustion reaction. In addition to air, which is just 20% of oxygen, other sources of oxygen can be found in the form of chemicals or dust particles. And last is fuel, is the final component of fire prevention triangle, and it is necessary to supply energy to the reaction and sustain the fire. Fuels come in many forms like paper, wood, composites, and even oil. Simple combustible products such as tas are also closed as fuel. When all three elements are present in sufficient quantities, a fire can start. To prevent a fire, it is important to eliminate or remove one of these elements. So, it is important to prevent the fire prevention triangle, which are heat, oxygen, and fuel, because these three elements are essential for fire to start and propagate. In order to prevent fires, it is necessary to reduce or eliminate one or more of these three elements to prevent ignition. Reducing all elements of the fire triangle reduces the chances of a fire happening, and also the chances of a fire spreading if it is thus occur. This, in turn, can reduce the risk of serious damage, injury, or death, and save lives in the process.
Do you know what to do if your home catches fire? Studies show that you may only have 2 minutes to safely escape a home fire. But by taking some steps in advance, your family can safely escape in 2 minutes or less. Here are a few prevention and response tips for home fires. Prepare by identifying and removing fire hazards in your home. Anything that gets hot needs plenty of space. There should be at least 3 feet between heating items and anything else that could catch fire. Turn off space heaters when not in use. Always avoid smoking in bed, and don't leave candles lit when unattended or at bedtime. Make sure your children know they should not play with fire, matches, and lighters. Keep matches and lighters in high or locked places away from children's reach. Be sure that you have working smoke alarms on every level of your home and inside and outside sleeping areas. Make sure to test them once a month to make sure batteries are working. And if your smoke alarm is more than 10 years old, it's time to replace it. Discuss your outside meeting spot and fire escape plan and practice your drill with your family twice a year. Make sure everyone can get out safely in under 2 minutes. By taking these precautionary steps, you're off to a great start. But if a fire does occur, you'll need to know how to respond. Do not open a door if it feels warm to the back of your hand. Warm or hot door temperatures could indicate that there is a fire on the other side. Use a secondary exit instead. If your exit route is blocked, stay put. Open a window and wave something white to signal for help, such as a pillowcase or piece of clothing. Stay low to the ground and crawl to avoid breathing in smoke. Follow your family's escape plan. Get out of the house, do not go back in, and call 911 right away. With these tips, you'll be able to prevent fire and safely and quickly respond if there is one. The Red Cross has launched a campaign to reduce the number of deaths from home fires by 25%. For more information, visit redcross.org/fire. Thanks for watching.
Lastly, we have the fire prevention diagram. So this diagram gives an overview of fire prevention for workplaces. Fire diagram is an important tool that can be employed to help anticipate and prevent the development of hazardous fire situations. Fire prevention diagrams can be used to identify potential fire hazards, identify cause of fires, as well as illustrate steps that can be taken to reduce the risk of uncontrolled fire. An effective fire prevention diagram can assist in the implementation of fire prevention measures, which can include fire hazard reduction strategies, proper usage of extinguishing equipment, and other preventive techniques. A fire prevention diagram can also help identifying potential changes to the working environment. A fire prevention diagram can also help identifying potential changes to the working environment that can reduce the risk of fire, such as utilizing smoke and heat detecting system, fire-resistant materials, and better ventilation. Additionally, a fire prevention diagram can provide vital information in emergency situations such as a specific location of hazardous materials or fire exits. The use of a diagram can be also beneficial for emergency respondents by clearly delineating hazardous and non-hazardous areas, ensuring a safer environment for all personnel. By utilizing a comprehensive fire prevention diagram, organization can better anticipate and plan for any potential fire events, ultimately increasing safety and security for all. And that's all about fire prevention. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Sarah Jane Milla, and for today I will be discussing about the assessment and the ABCs of CPR. So what is CPR? Cardiopulmonary resuscitation is a technique of basic life support for the brain and the heart until appropriate, definitive medical treatment can restore normal heart and ventilatory action. So, ang kaning CPR kay mo ni siya ang kanang life-saving technique if for example na ay nabinalumos or na heart attack. So, you can do CPR para to save the life of the people nga nag-need need ani nga treatment para kanang they will be able to restore their breathing and kanang mabalik sa normal ang ilahang health. So, unsa man di ang purposes sa CPR? So, first, to maintain an open and clear airway and para ma-maintain ang iyang paginhawa through CPR and para ang iyang blood circulation kay ma-maintain sad o kanang mabalik sa normal and of course, para ma-save ang mga lives sa mga tao nga nag-need of CPR and para mag-provide sad ni ang CPR og mga basic life support until kanang medical kana yung mga doctor or mga nurses na or ambulance na ang mukuha nila para ma-monitor sila. So ang kaning CPR kay gamit kay ni siya kay para bitaw like if di kaginhawa or something nga nalumos sinana, so mo siya ang purpose ani. And then ang katunang mga ambulance or ang mga medical kuan na ang mo continue sa pag-maintain sa kanang life sa kanang patient. So now, let us discuss the ABCs of CPR, which is ang first kay airway. When you say airway, ang kanang iyahang baba. So as you can see, if ang person nag-need gani siya CPR, so first kay imo sang i-check ang iyahang baba and imo siyang ablihan and kanang imong i-open ang iyahang baba by placing one hand on the forehead to tilt the head back and use two fingers from the other hand to lift the chin. So If dili pa gani mo respond ang kanang kuan ang patient, so you have to check ang iyahang breathing. So after sa airway, so ang breathing na sad. So ang kanisya imo siyang i-check ang iyahang paghinhawa if normal ba or dili. So para makabalo ka if normal ba or dili ang iyang paghinhawa, so you have to place your air sa kanang iyahang baba and ito check if kanang gaginhawa ba jud siya, if normal ba iyang pagginhawa or dili na. So imo siyang paminawan ng iyang pagginhawa for at least na lang kay 10 seconds. And then imuhang i-check ang iyang dughan if kanang ni-move ba or wala. So if kung wala gani kay if dili gani gihapon siya kanang responsive bitaw kay need na jud nimong mo call sa call sa 911 for emergency help. So last one is the circulation. So imuhang i-check ang kanang victims nga pulso bitaw for 5 to 10 seconds sa iyang dapit sa iyahang liog. And if kung dili gani gyapon okay or stable ang iyahang pulso kay imo na siyang i-rescue ang iyahang pagginhawa. So ang usa ka ginhawa equivalent to 5 seconds siya. So if kon pa gani kay 12 ka ginhawa for every 1 minute, so mo na siya buhaton para ma-revive ang iyahang pulso. So next is kanang imuhang i-check dayon ang iyang pulso every minute kay para makuan beton nimo if kanus ka mo stop o kanang CPR. So that's it. So thank you all for watching.
Good evening, ma'am, and good evening, everyone. I'm Inocellas Clark, and this time I'm going to present my topic. And my topic is burn and scalds caused by electricity. So, introduction. Burns and scalds caused by electricity are a significant concern as they pose unique challenges and requires specific attention. Electrical burns occur when the body comes into contact with the electrical current, while scalds result from exposure to hot liquids or steam caused by electrical malfunction. These injuries can range from mild to severe and may have long-term consequences. Understanding the distinct characteristics and appropriate management of electrical burns and scalds is crucial for both prevention and effective treatment. Next is common cause of electrical burn and scalds. First is faulty wiring. Poor installed or deteriorated electrical wiring is a leading cause of electrical accident. This includes old or damaged wires, loose connections, proper grounding, or indicate insulations. Second is overload circuit. Plugging too many electrical devices into a single outlet or circuit can overload the system, leading to overheating, short circuit, and electrical fires. And third is manage electrical appliance or cords. Crack or fried cords, damaged electrical appliances, or faulty switches can cause electrical spark, short circuit, and electrical fires, or like anong mga na-damage yung mga extension wire or mga sunog, then mo create yun na siya og fire or mo spark yun na siya kung ba or di ka mag magdikit ang duha ka wire. So next is DIY electrical works. Untrained individuals attempt electrical repairs or installations without proper knowledge or expertise can lead to mistake, faulty wiring, and dangerous electrical situation. So kung like nayuban nga mag-DIY, din wala sila kibalo kung unsaon pag-ayo ang usa ka extension wire or unsa pa na dinha nga mga electric appliances. So kung dili maayo ang pagkapuhat nila is mag-cause jud siya og accident. Then next is First aid for electrical burns and scalds. First is assess the safety of the scenes. Before rushing to aid the victim, ensure your safety and the safety of others. So, usa ka mo tabang sa usa ka tawo, so sa biktima, make sure nga safety ka, make sure nga safety ang uban, kay basin niya maksidente ka, so duha na mo nga tabangonon. Check for any potential hazard such as fire, electrical wires, or unstable structure. So, imo dyan na i-check kung wala ba'y mga potential nga mag-cause sa sunog or di ka mga electrical wires nga naa sa mga ground or di ka unstable nga mga instructor like nahaligi nga medyo tipak na or di ka kuan kapit na mabungkag, so make sure nga imo na i-check para safety ka. Then if a sense is unsafe, wait for a professional help to arrive. So kung tan-aw nimo dili safety ang sa lugar, so make sure nga maghuwat ka sa mga professional nga mga rescuer ana. And second is call for emergency assistance. Dial the emergency number or ask someone nearby to call. So dapat tawag ka sa emergency number para mo-rescue sila o para motabang sila sa pag-rescue ngadto sa biktima. And provide clear information about the situation and location of victim. So kung naa na ang mga rescuer, you should nga mo-provide ka og clear nga information kung unsa nay kahimtang sa biktima or asa siya dapit or asa siya na side sa building. So para kibaw na ang mga rescuer kung unsa ilang angay nga buhaton or unsaon nila pagpamaagi sa pag-rescue sa biktima. Then next is approach the victim safely. If safe, approach the victim consciously, being aware of any potential dangers. Next is be mindful of your own safety while providing assistance. So while nga nag-provide ka og tabang, so imong gitabangan ang usa ka biktima, so una-unaon nimo ang imong kaugalingon pod nga prevention strategies. General electrical safety tips. Always assume that electrical wires are live and potentially dangerous. Never touch electrical appliance outlets or switches with hands. Avoid using damaged or fried electrical cords and replace them immediately. And unplug appliances by gripping the plug, not the cord. Keep electrical cords away from heat sources, water, and high traffic areas to prevent tripping hazard. Do not overload outlets or use multiple adapter or extension cords in a single outlet. And conclusion. Electrical safety should be a top priority for everyone. By following safety precautions and taking necessary steps to prevent accident, we can create a safer environment for ourselves and others. It is important to assess the safety of the scenes, call for emergency assistance, and provide immediate first aid while ensuring personal safety. And that's all. Thank you.
One-man carry. Positioning. Make sure to position the patient lying on his or her back. Support the neck and the shoulders of the victim before pushing him or her forward. Use your knee to support the victim's back. Hold the victim's wrists in this manner and secure. Pull the victim up using your knees and not your back. Assist to walk. Stay on the victim's affected side. Lovers carry. Hammock 2.
Feel me. Feel me. Feel me.